Good evening, everybody. This is Standing Birth on the Heart. Of course, you all know me by now as Bear. And let me say this Happy New Year of 2024. Today is January the 5th, 2024. Wow, oh man, the new year has begun already. And this is the first, of course, video of New Year of 2024. And so, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to actually talk just briefly about a subject that a lot of people, of course, during the new year, they like to make reservations or resolution. Is it reservation? No, not reservations. Excuse me, resolution. New Year resolutions. But here's the thing: they don't stick to it. So tonight, I'm just going to really address this really briefly in regards basically making decisions versus simply having intentions. Because a lot of people, when they talk about resolutions and things like that, they're usually having intentions, but they don't necessarily actually make decisions and stick to it. That's one of the reasons why most of the time New Year's resolutions don't really pan out or work because people don't really make a decision. So let me go ahead and tonight. But before I continue to do so, I would like you to, first of all, after the video, is to go ahead and check out this particular poll. And I'm going to put at the bottom. It's called What Healing and Empowerment Topics Events Interest You? And then what you gotta do is there's a Google Doc. You just go ahead and click on it, and you just ask the questions, answer the questions, and put as much information as you can. That way, we can also start having different subjects at hand to help you with. In other words, if you want to learn about certain types of subjects, such as like out-of-body experiences more, or touch base upon other types of top subjects. Like I said, we have a bunch of questions that you can answer, and therefore you can go ahead and answer the questions, and therefore Rainbow and I and our team members can check it out and find out, oh, okay, what can we talk about more? What can we emphasize more of? Not just in the videos, but also like in Patreon and various other things, because there's so many different topics that we can really touch upon that I think will be beneficial for us to really help you with in this world, especially like with kind of second protection and business and politics and various other things, because they're all coincide, they're all intermingled in one form or another. So just go ahead and check it out. Like I said, I'll have that at the very first thing at the bottom, and you go ahead and click on it, and then just go ahead and let us know, and that way we can also research and check things out for ourselves too, what you want, and that way we can figure out, oh, okay, what other subjects we can start talking about and start addressing. So, all right. So now, hold on, let me get me a drink before I get going. Continue. Okay, so decisions versus intentions, or so forth, right? So most of the time, people when they talk about making like I said, resolutions, or they say, "Oh, I'm going to do this," or "I'm planning on doing this," and you're putting that intention out that you're going to get this done, or you're going to go ahead and get that going, and things like that, right? I mean, just recently, I was at a restaurant, to say the least. I was at a restaurant, and I was actually, this was like before Christmas day of this past year of 2023. And I saw these three ladies that were like, they're laughing and doing their thing and so forth, and they were talking. And next thing you know it, I was just, they were like simply wanting to take pictures of themselves, but they needed some, I thought, well, maybe I should jump in and help them out and maybe take pictures for them and things like that, because they were doing selfies and all that stuff too, which was fine. But then but I think they also wanted to actually have clear pictures when they were actually without struggling to do their selfies. That I went ahead and helped them take the pictures so they can be more comfortable. They can actually really take the pictures 100% to their fullest. How do I say this? Capacity to their fullest commitment, things like that. And so I went ahead and I asked her, I volunteered I said I asked them, do you guys need to help me with me taking your pictures? And so I did. And next thing you know it, I was just simply telling them, I guess they were, I was simply telling them, asking them what happened. They seemed kind of sad and everything. They lost a friend of theirs, to say the least, a year or so prior to this event, this situation. And it was so weird that I somehow tap into their friend's energy, because their friend, I guess, wanted me to channel, because I guess she had messages for them too, in regards to how they should move on with their lives from that point. As they were still going through their sadness, they were still going through the struggles, and they haven't really moved on effectively. So what I did was I don't know I just had tapped into it just talking to them, and I really had this feeling that this energy was flowing through me, and I guess that was really their not I guess but that was their friend that they lost a year or so, and she had something to say to them, but I guess decided to ask me if I wanted to say it through me. I just kind of like, okay, I just kind of went with it and allowed it. It wasn't anything malevolent, or otherwise I would have said, oh hell no, get out of my face, get out of my space, and all that. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't anything demonic or nothing like that. It was very peaceful, and it was just mostly to the point, very professionally. And I didn't even know the name of her, their friend or anything, but I just felt it was just their friend that they were talking about. So I went ahead and I channeled her message. And one of the key messages, I'm not going to say everything about everything to them about what I've said about them on a private note, but when I am going to say this, it's like the same thing that she channeled through me to them. In the sense, I'm also going to talk about it to you guys as well. When it was like kind of like her message from through me to their friend, but it's an actual message from me to you guys out there too. And one of the key things that she told her friends was that whatever it is, they like I said, I won't tell you the reasons why they weren't making decisions or anything or what their intentions were or anything like that. But what their friend through me was telling them, with these three ladies, that you got to make the decisions. Trust in making the decisions. Trust in what you do will pan out. You got to make decisions and you got to go with it. And you got to stick with it, basically. And then they were getting it. They were getting exactly what this particular friend of theirs through me were telling them. And plus, I did some healing and some clearing on them too, on top of that as well. But I'm not going to explain too much of that. But they were really, really appreciative of what I did, what I put out, and what I not only how I could channel the message from her friend, but also the fact that I demonstrated some healing on all three of them in different times and so forth. And so they were really appreciative. And so what I'm saying to you guys now too, and what their friend said to them, that you got to make decisions, you know, rather than just simple intentions. Because when you make a decision and you really gonna go to it, you have to first of all discriminate what you're gonna do, what you're not gonna do, what you're gonna willing to give up, what you're not willing to give up, and things like that. You see. And then when you make a decision, you're closer to taking action towards that decision, taking action and actually going with it. Most people, when they talk about having intention of doing certain things, yeah, they talk about it, but no, sometimes they'll put it off, or they'll go do other things that are distracting, that to a degree where they don't necessarily make a decision and a commitment to commit to what they're intending to begin with. So what I'm saying here is that these New Year's, that's most of the time New Year's resolutions don't work, is because they haven't necessarily decided to make a decision to make it part of their day or their time frame or their scheduling. That's what I'm saying. They don't make it time. They don't make their time to say, okay, I'm gonna do this for a couple hours, or I'm gonna do this for an hour, or I'm gonna. So, like for instance, like I would make a commitment. Okay, I need to make a time to start walking again because it's been cold and everything else, and I've been kind of like, a little lazy and like, it's kind of cold. I don't want to do this. But at some point though, I decided that this, of course, I'm gonna start walking more in the afternoons when the sun is up. When I'm gonna make some time to walk in the afternoons rather than doing all kind of other things. And that's what I did. I would walk in the afternoons, you know, between my work and my business and things like that. And especially if it's cold right now, and especially if it gets darker sooner and more darkness, with the night times and so forth. So I choose at some point, or if I go to the gym, I make the time to actually walk on those treadmills. But most of the time, I actually go walk at the parks and make laps, and that's what I would do. That's what one of the decisions I made, and I made that in the past, and now I'm gonna go back and go do that again. I mean, the fact is, yes, I've already lost some weight. I mean, you can see I've lost some good amount of weight. But now I want to just continue to keep on get myself back into some best shape as possible. Get my body moving, my mind moving again into some certain levels. And so, and now that we're in January, it's just time for me to get back on track. But as far as decisions are concerned, like I say, you're closer to taking action, and then sticking to it, and then get committed to it, and do it repetitively. And eventually you'll meet your goals and the goals that you're going to meet. And, or sometimes if you do take a certain action, then you got to go maybe study a certain lesson, or maybe study a certain way, or talk, or meet certain people, or have some kind of meetings. There's just all many different ways that you can, depending on what goals that you want to accomplish. And is it for yourself? Is it for your family? Is it for your company? It just all depends on what decisions that you make, regardless of that. And so that's one of the key things that you really need to really figure. Is just you got to make a decision regardless of what, whether it's popular, whether it's unpopular, no matter what. Because whatever decision you're gonna make, you're gonna have to live with it and go. But once you're living with it, though, it's about you going through it and committing to it. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. What's the importance of this decision? It's living and dying with it. So in other words, are you willing to live and die by the decisions that you make? Whether it's quote unquote wrong decision or whether it's quote unquote right decision. Is it a wrong decision for you? Is it a wrong decision for the other people? Or will it affect just only yourself? Or will it affect just yourself and other people around you? These are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself while not only making a decision, but also just going out and doing it too. You see? Because if you keep on just questioning but don't do anything, then you're going to stay stuck. And you don't want to be stuck in any time frame whatsoever, or you want to be stuck in any part of your life. You have to get to a point where you say, okay, you know what? I mean, like, or for instance, if you even wanted to do so, you could ask yourself, what are the pros and the cons for making certain decisions, and then you get a piece of paper, get like a line piece of paper, and you draw in the middle line, pro and a con. And then at the very bottom of that, then you put action steps. Now that's one of the key things that you can start doing in order to figure out what are the pros and cons for a certain decision, and then whatever points out that's going to be more beneficial for yourself and even practically for everyone else. Then I figure out what action step you take, and you just go ahead and do that action step. Do it. Make that decision that you're going to do. Well, first of all, make a decision and then take the action step. That's basically what it is. And because the thing is that when you make a decision, you're getting everything moving. You're getting yourself moving. You're getting your emotions moving. You're getting your mind moving. Everything starts moving. Nothing is getting too stagnant or stuck. So that's something. And then once you're not, and then also once you're unstuck yourself and keep moving, your spirit will also move too, and your spirit will also guide you to see which other decisions or which other pathways to take that are going to be better for you, and that way your spirit can lead you to the promised land, so to speak. And so that's how it is. And also, let me see. So you have to be willing to live and live and die by the decisions that you make. If you're not willing to live and die by certain decisions, then don't make that decision. Don't do it. Do something else. Go pivot to a different direction, even if possible. Or see how long you'll have to. Or maybe the timing is not right. Maybe you have to wait for a certain timing. But here's the thing: don't wait too long either. Don't use that timing situation as an excuse not to take certain actions either. Okay, actions has got to be taken at a certain time frame too, in order for the time frame and in order for time to be on your side as well to some degree. And let me see. So also, and then on top of that, like I said, make a decision is, like I said, is going to get you moving and get you going, taking action. You have to be willing to live by it, but live with the consequences of it in view. And if there's any consequences, just figure out if you're going to pivot a certain way, or if you're going to continue to keep going and not necessarily focus too much on the consequences. Like for instance, maybe let's say if you make a certain decision, people may not like you a certain way, or maybe you want to put boundaries more or something like that. You make a decision to have more boundaries, then people may get upset with you. Well, if that's the case, but if that's going to make you healthy, if it's going to get you balanced, and if it's going to get you have a better relationship with your family or your friends or whatever case, then make that decision despite people's opinions or people's negative feelings for you or negative feelings about your decisions and so forth. You have to be willing to stick by it and be committed to it 100%. You see, and that's been one of the key things that I've dealt with. When I went ahead and I started becoming more outspoken about not only politics and exopolitics in my field, because the thing was, remember, Rainbow and I are still we're doing healing work. We're healers. We doing psychic protection and so forth. And even during those times when we decided to even teach psychic protection, we've had people within the metaphysical community who don't necessarily like the fact that we quote unquote are talking about black magic, or we're talking about protecting yourselves against the psychic attacks and so forth. But these things do are existence, and they are out there. And so we even had people even come up and say, what you're trying to do is what you're attract, but you have to have some kind of awareness. What is wrong with having awareness? You see, when spirit also too, and that's another thing too, when spirit guides you to do certain things, yeah, you could be, hesitant, you could be scared and so forth. But once you go over that fear, and once you break through it, you have to just really do what spirit is telling you to. Because if your spirit is guiding you to also make a decision that's going to lead you to not only to help yourself well and your family, but also others. Like this whole psychic protection thing, we were led by it in many different ways, through spirit, through circumstances of other people around us, to having people come and ask for us for help and things like that. And it wasn't like we could just say, no, I'm not going to help you on your own and so forth. No, it was like spirit led me, and also spirit led Rainbow in different ways to actually help people with psychic protection, how to protect themselves, and or whether it's from other people, witches, vampires, different things like that. And so we had to just definitely go with that psychic protection, despite first Love and Light community, who's been, of course, CIA psyoped, to just be a love and light, but not being about the shadow, not being about really looking at yourself deeply, not about protecting yourself psychically or battles and things like that, because there are different sides to these things too, in our metaphysical community, especially if you're dealing with, anything regarding spiritual power, mysticism, or magic, or shamanism, and various other energy manipulation, and the different forms of energy manipulation, the occult, these things like that. And these are the kind of things that you have to really be aware of. There's two sides to this. It's not just all love and light and nothing else happens. No, it is also, there's a, darker, no, or I would say more negative, evil side to this thing too, that you have to be aware of, be willing to learn it, and then also be willing to counteract it, but not also let it consume you too. See? And so with the psychic protection situation, of course, I learned, have my own experiences with, being a recipient of it, as well as, counterattacking it against whoever came after me or whatever came after me. I was able to fight back and things like that. And that's what I also was teaching people how to do for themselves. So that was a decision that Rainbow and I basically made, and we had notes and things like that. See, we took action in different ways. That we had notes that that we accumulated. We write things down. We would study and things like that. You see, that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Once you make a decision to do certain things, you have to stick with it and be committed to it. And that's basically what it is. And that's where how psychic protection was also created too. Now, of course, I've also throughout the years I spoke about various other forms of psychic protection, which is of course through politics, exopolitics, sociology, different things like that. Especially what's been going on the last few years with all this whole COVID narratives, various narratives, the media, and analyzing the media, various things like that. And so I made that decision, and yes, it wasn't very popular to start doing these kind of things between 2020 and even now. It hasn't been because of all we had been. I mean, yeah, we've had a good amount of support, but we also had a good, even unfortunately, even had been through attacks from various people that we thought were cool, that were either once our clients or our associates and so forth. And then we even had people that are associates and clients, and even some former friends of ours that even died through to different narratives or going through making bad various decisions that really cost them their health. Now, what am I talking about? Let me put it like this. Now, there are various videos that I put out there in regards to a lot of the things that I have talked about throughout the years, and you'll know what they are. But one of the key things, of course, one of the decisions that was really hard for me to make back in 2021, March, was actually to leave the school district that I used to work in. I had that. I was on and off. I was working that school district on and off for the last few to 10 years. And so the last one that I was with, it was almost near 5 years where I was over there, and it was a really the last when I went back for the third time throughout the last few years, I was there for the next few years and so forth. But when this whole COVID situation happened, The whole world changed, and so many things have changed to a point where they weren't really thinking clearly. People were too much in fear. People were on power trips. There were just so much changes that people went through that was not for the better at all. And of course, and also Paul, I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna have something else at the bottom, or you can watch a particular video of mine called "ZELENSKYY and Teachers Union" for more information about that. But what happened was there was a lot of things that went through so many changes caused by teachers unions that nobody really knew at that time until I was actually got myself out of the district. There were certain things that they wanted me to do that were that would compromise my health, but they would have me keep me working at this particular nice job, nice stable job that I had, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, I've meditated on it, I prayed about it, I asked different scenarios, what could have happened? Is there any other way I could have done it a certain way? But the thing about it was, but to do certain things a certain way, I would have to have more resources and lawyers and things like that. And I didn't really have that kind of cash at the time or resources, especially the fact that I already lost so many clients due to the fact that I was making my stance against various narratives, and especially if I been me also being a Trump supporter, which a lot of people would think that was not the best decision. But you know what? I don't really care now what people think. I didn't really care then what people think. I knew what my spirit needed to do, and what I needed to do to, you know, not only just help myself and Rainbow, but also help other people too and help this country. And so, and like I said, there's bigger reasons. But like I said, watch my other videos, you'll find out my bigger reason. But the fact is, I made a decision, and even though yes, it was hard, it was frustrating, it was really it was a lot of anger towards me, because I had anger towards my former clients that turned their back on us, and even former friends turned their back on me. But then again, I even started hearing that even relatives and families turned their back on each other throughout the years because of the whole Trump situation, the whole COVID situation. And so, yeah, it was a lot of different people really showed their true colors, and they really showed their, they basically showed their true colors, and they didn't necessarily, they showed that they weren't necessarily as down with you as they should have been. Or as I mean, because even though you may hate Trump, but why also hate Bear Rainbow for supporting Trump, or hate Bear Rainbow for having a different narrative? But most people got to a point where they want to choose a side. This whole country became divided to a point where I had to make a decision, and I felt like I had to make a decision to a point where I went with what my spirit told me, but I also had to make a decision where I can't feel like I can not just not have an opinion and not say anything, because there's just so much injustice that was going on that I saw through that many people are not seeing, still not seeing, including my own people within our own metaphysical community, who I've known and I've seen have fallen either towards the swamp, which is the rare case, but most of it has either been either to the plantation or the hive mind of this whole situation, of this whole cultural, spiritual, and informational war that we're in. And I picked a side, and I chose a side, and I stuck to it. And even though yes, it's not as I have as much clientele like I did back in anywhere from 2019 and before, but now I have more of a quality of the clients that I have now, and I'm still meeting more and things like that. And so, it's a decision that I made, and I decided to stick with it. And the same thing when I left my job, because I didn't want to, I didn't want to take the jab. I didn't want to they get tested because I knew these were faulty. I didn't want a lot of different things going on, and then I was told, so many ways that you're not going to find another job again from there. Once you walk out, you'll be struggling and look for a job and everything. And no, and actually, I was actually able to find another job within a month of when I left. So it didn't take me too long for me to get to get work and to stick to it. And I'm still there, by the way, the same work, and as well as really getting my clientele rebuilt and so forth. It was really hard. It was painful, but at the same time, I'm not regretting it either, because I knew deep down what my spirit tells me was right, and I knew deep down that I was walking the path of a shaman, walking the path of a mystic, and various other paths of the man that I was supposed to be, as a warrior, martial artist, healer, things like that. You see? and Chandler and things like that. So, and I'm now really starting to feel that everything's really starting to get back into full circle again. And at the same time, it wasn't easy because I had fights, like I said, with various people. And there's people still attacking us that we once worked with and everything. But we have to stick to who we are and what we're about. Or otherwise, if you don't make a stand for something, if you don't stick to if you don't really show what your values are and so forth, then you're really not going to be a person. You're not going to be a trusted name. You're not going to be a trusted business even because you represent your business. If you're doing entrepreneurship, you're doing business owning, investing in being an investor and things these other things like that. So these are the kind of things to consider when you're doing that. So not for you to feel sorry for me or anything like that. And at the same time, when I saw that people, decided to do certain things to keep their jobs and whatever, and guess what happened? Some, of course, have left to go different, positions or different school districts. Others stayed there, but they decided to be fully cooperative. And even to a point, even some people within our own metaphysical community have done certain things to try to pull a point and not lose their clients. And yet they'll tell Rainbow Night other things of what they believe in, but yet they will not practice it and they will like do the exact opposite. They made decisions to bend the knee to the woke mob. And so because people are bending the knee to the woke mob or bending the knee to certain type of narratives, they decided to go cooperative. Now many of them are dead. Either dead or they're suffering health problems, and then there's even very few of them that I had to help clear of those health problems because of what they've done to themselves and so because of the narratives that they bought into, various other things like that, and the mandates and all these different things like that. So we all have to make our decisions, and it may not be popular, and it may not serve us in the short term, but you also got to look at things in the long term. You got to look at things down the road. Sometimes you can't. It's not like one of those quick fix or. Because see, the problem with our society is that we have been too conditioned to be entitled to things, and we've been too conditioned to think that things should happen just like that all the time, like a microwave society that we're living in. Everybody wants things. Everybody wants everything now and yesterday, basically. And we have to make decisions not just for short term, but we also got to make decisions for the long term. You see, for the long term. So that's basically what I'm saying here. We got to make decisions for the long term. So we also got to see what's going on, what the world's becoming, but at the same time, just because the world has become a certain way doesn't mean we cannot stand our ground or we can't make a decision that's going to be beneficial for yourself, your family, and that's what I did. I made a decision based on my own health and also the health to protect Rainbow and to protect other people that are around my inner circle. And now, even though sure, now things are happening again and things are growing again with my business. At the same time, it did take a long time, but at the same time, though, people did die out. People paid even higher prices than even I did. There's even other people that are still not recuperating. There's still some people that haven't necessarily talked to me, but then some of them eventually end up dying, just dropping dead and things like that. So the decision that you make could also be a matter of life and death. You see, it also depends on what your life and death, what it means to you and things like that. So you gotta make those decisions based on your values, your principles, your philosophies, things like that too. So you have to really get deep within yourself, and then see which decisions that you can make that's really gonna further your growth, or is it gonna really deter your growth and it's gonna get you dying even quicker than you want to believe or what you want to think. So yeah, I'm gonna get going into about a bit, but I just want to let you know that in 2024, and not just even that, but now even then, as the being, the spirit of the friends of these women were channeling through me, they were telling them that they need to make decisions no matter how unpopular it would be, no matter how hard it may get. You gotta stick to it and go through it because at the end of the day, when you actually make through it and actually make a decision, you're closer to your goal, or you're actually going to be accomplishing your goal to go on to the next level in your life. You see, and that's how it is at the end of the day. And that's what the spirit was channeling through me, was telling these three ladies, young ladies, beautiful young ladies, and then now it's talking that same jargon in a sense to you guys, to the rest of the world. that you guys have to really be brave and have some courage in making those decisions, and you can't let certain things hold you back or hold you down from making those decisions and actually going with it. So that's the idea. So having intentions are good, but even while you're making decisions, if you have certain intentions, it'll also carry you along too in order for you to get to that goal or get to solve problems or things like that and be a contributing force to the world or to society. And that's what decisions overall will help you to be to become a contributing force. And so yeah, that's basically what I'm saying here regarding decisions and so forth and intentions. So and of course now how and here's the thing: when you make decisions too, make sure that it's realistic, and make sure that it's actually measurable too. That it's measurable to your time, measurable to how you feel it'll take you to do certain things. Make sure it is realistic to a point. Like for instance, if you think that if you're going to make a decision that's going to be almost impossible for you to do maybe within a month, then either don't make that decision or make a decision that you're going to do things little by little in order to accumulate. Like let's just say you need to save money, then maybe you may need to work more hours. Maybe you need to stop spending more. Maybe you need to like back up on what you're spending and maybe save a little bit for whatever, whether it's traveling or anything else like that. So just make a decision to save maybe save like $200 like a week or $200 every couple weeks or something like that. These are the kind of decisions that will really help you in the long term if you decide when you decide to plan now and take action now and just go with it now and stick to it. Be committed to it. That's basically what it is. It's about commitment too when you make decisions and actually run with it. And that's how you're gonna live your life. If you live your life with commitment, eventually everything else will start to commit to you and start helping you out as well. The universe and the creator and the many other different forces will help you, including people too. So that's something that you also got to just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind, and you'll be good, and you and your family and everybody else will be good too. If you just stick to it, stick to the plan, and keep moving forward, eventually you will succeed. One of the key things is prohibit yourself from quitting. Prohibit yourself from quitting. I mean, if you need to take a break or take a rest, that's one thing. But don't stay out there don't take a break or take a rest or a vacation too long. You have to go back and get it moving again, until you succeed. And then once you succeed to a certain level, then you can go out to the next level and so forth and so forth and so forth. So yeah, so just remember, it's about making decisions. New Year's is about making decisions, but also just now is about making decisions. It doesn't have to be just a new year. You just can just start doing it now. I mean, time shouldn't be too much of a factor. It's just time. People make that as an excuse not to do certain things or not to make certain decisions. And you gotta stop doing that. You gotta stop letting time be the factor of you holding you back, or circumstances or whatever. If you're gonna commit, you're gonna have to, like I say, make the time for it. That's another factor. You gotta make time for it. So, all right. Is there anything else I gotta say? I mean, the only thing else I'm gonna say is, like I said, these ladies were very appreciative to me, and now they decided that they wanted to be our subscribers to our Instagram, our subscribers to our Facebook, and certain other social media platforms as well too. So that was really cool for them to do that. And so, of course, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Barry Healers, or you can even just become members of our newsletter and sign up there too and get some various tips and so forth. But with our Patreon, you can start as low as $10 a month, and then you can really start learning the real deep stuff and the deep secrets. But before you do all of that, go to our poll at the bottom and answer the questions. And therefore, then make sure you put your name, number, and everything else, because we will want to call you. We want to talk to you. We want to see what you're about, and we really want to get to know you too as well. So just go ahead and put all the information in there, and just let us, and just open yourself up for us to talk to you, and we can open up ourselves to talk to you as well and help you out, whatever you need. And yeah, let's just work. Let's work together. Let's do this. Let's really work together in 2024 at least. To start with, this is a new year. And like I said, and if you really, once you actually join our Patreon, we can actually have a group and actually just really have basically have a group and also have many other ways of how we can work together, how we can help heal. Maybe I can give you advice. Maybe we can learn from you and how to better our stuff or how to move forward and things like that. Because just last night, I was talking to one of my students who's also out doing the work himself in many ways, and he's also teaching some of his kids in different ways too. And it just made me realize that the decisions that I make is also helping other people make their decisions as well too, and sticking to it. So you see, so when you make decisions, that's another thing too. I just remember now, when you make decisions, you're also influencing people, other people, to also do the same thing too. Not necessarily maybe it didn't make might be a copy or you're a clone or nothing like that, but it's gonna actually help people make. It's gonna make a difference in people also making decisions with more courage, with the prep in their step, and many things like that. And so that's what I'm also saying to you guys. You make decisions, you could be also influencing other people to do the same. Whether you do so, whether you actually directly tell them that or not. You just got, sometimes it's just about your action, the way you live your life is how you also influence people to live theirs. So you got to also keep that in mind too. Just sorry, I just remember that and that just hit me now. So yes. And so yeah, so like I say, patreon.com/Barry Healers, or you can also sign up for a newsletter. All that's gonna be at the bottom, and Facebook and things like that too. So yeah. Other than that, yeah, like I said, go ahead and get to that poll, and let us know. Give us your name. I mean, of course, your name, your number, also your email, and how we can contact you, so we can contact you as soon as possible, and then that way we can keep checking to figure out who's interested, what they want. We can talk to you about. We ask you about your experience. We can ask you why do you want to learn this, things like that, so we can really get the whole thing really moving along and really taking it to a different level. So, and taking your life to a different level, and taking everything else to a different level where we can actually help others and not just prove our point, but also make a difference as well. Make differences as well too. So. All right, I'm gonna get going. Also, you can also check out our website at bearandrainbow.com. Bearandrainbow.com. That will be at the bottom as well. So, and then of course our Facebook will be at the bottom as well too. So, other than that, I'm gonna get going. It's Friday night, and I usually don't do this on a Friday night, but I thought it would just be very important. My spirit was really pushing me in a sense to really talk about this, because people were not making decisions. People were just getting stuck. And once you start making decisions and get moving, you will really be surprised how everything changes in your life, from your body shape, your mind set, how your health is, how everything else goes in your life. So, other than that, that's how it is. If you have any questions, like I said, you can go to bearandrainbow.com / well, you can actually / contact. You can go ahead and do that. And there are ways that you could also donate to us too. That's also going to be at the bottom as well too. So, other than that, I'm going to get going. Like I said, just go ahead and get on that poll, and just get on it, and just let it be known what you guys want, what your desires are, what you want to do in your lives, and what you want to do with the information, everything like that. So, let's get it going. Let's get it going. All right, now, like I said, once again, Happy New Year of 2024. And I'm going to get going. And so this whole year is going to be something. It's going to be, now I'll really talk about more about different subjects later. But tonight, just make a decision to get on that poll and finish it. Just that's a decision that I'm definitely advising y'all to do. Just make that decision enough to get on that poll and get the survey and everything going too, and answer some questions. So. And in that way, you could be committed enough to get the help as well too. So, all right, now I'm gonna get going. It's been quite an interesting week as well, to say the least. But hey, 2024 is here, and I'm excited, and I'm gonna keep moving on, and I'm gonna keep making decisions that I'm gonna make no matter what. And that's the kind of commitment you need to have too. You need to just be willing to just say, you know what, I can care less. I'm sticking to my decision. And it's going to help. And if you need to pivot, you can pivot. But just know this. Once you make that decision, and once you get committed, and once you start moving, things will change for you. This will change you, whether it's mostly for the better in the long haul. It may not be for the short term, but for the long haul it will. And I'm seeing it now for my life, and you'll see it in your life for you as well. All right, now take care. Many blessings, and I'll talk to y'all later. Healing, it is all that is.